Wonderful, you're back. So, this is the Gospel according to Book of Mark, chapter 7, and no commentary. Now when the Pharisees gathered with some scribes who had come from Jerusalem gathered around him, they observed that some of his disciples ate their meals with unclean, that is, unwashed hands. For the Pharisees, and in fact all Jews, do not eat without carefully washing their hands, keeping the tradition of the elders. And by coming from the marketplace, they do not eat without purifying themselves. And there were many other things that they have traditionally observed, the purification of cups and jugs and kettles and beds. So the Pharisees and scribes questioned them, "Why do your disciples not follow the tradition of the elders, but instead eat a meal with unclean hands?" He responded, did Isaiah prophesy about you hypocrites, as it is written, "This people honors me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. In vain do they worship me, teaching as doctrines human precepts? You disregard God's commandment, but cling to human tradition." He went on to say, How well you have set aside the commandment of God in order to uphold your tradition. But Moses said, "Honor your father and your mother, and whomever curses your father or mother shall die." Yet you say, if a person says to a father or mother, "Any support you might have for me is," Yet you say, if a person says to a mother or father, "Any support you might have had from me is korban," meaning dedicated to God. You allow him to do nothing more for his father or mother. You nullify the word of God in favor of your tradition that you have handed on, and you do many such things. He summoned the crowd again and said to them, "Hear me, all of you, and understand. Nothing that enters from the outside can defile that person, but the things that come from within are what defile." Oops. What the? Uh-oh. What did I do? What did I do? What the file? Then he got home. When he got home away from the crowd, his disciples questioned him about the parable. He said to them, Are even you likewise without understanding? Do you not realize that everything that goes into a person comes from outside, cannot defile? Since it enters not the heart, but the stomach, and passes out into the latrine? Thus he declared all foods clean. But what comes out of a person is what defiles. From within people, from their hearts, come evil thoughts, unchastity, theft, and murder, adultery, greed, malice, deceit, licentiousness, evil and blasphemy, arrogance and folly. All these evil come from within, and they defile. From that place he went on to the district of Tyre. He entered a house, and not wanting to know more about it, he could not escape notice. Soon a woman whose daughter had an unclean spirit heard about him, and she came and fell at his feet. The woman was a Greek, a Syro-Phoenician by birth, and she begged him to drive the demon out of her daughter. He said to her, "Let the children be fed first, for it is not right to take the food from their children and throw it to the dogs." It was not right to take the food of the children and throw it to the dogs. She replied and said to him, "Lord, even the dogs under the table eat children's scraps." Then he said to her, "For saying this, you may go. The demon has gone out of your daughter." And when the woman went home, she found the child lying in bed and the demon gone. Again, he left the district of Tyre and went by way of Sidon to the Sea of Galilee, into the district of Decapolis. And the people brought to him a deaf man who had a speech impediment, and begged him to lay his hand on him. They took him by himself away, and they took him off by himself away from the crowd. He put his finger into the man's ear, spitting and coughed and touched. He put his finger into the man's ear, and spitting and touched his tongue. Then he looked up to the heaven and groaned and said to him, Ephphatha, that is, be open. And immediately the man's ears were spoken. His speech impediment was removed, and he spoke plainly. He ordered them not to tell anyone, but the more he ordered them not to, the more they proclaimed it. They were exceedingly astonished, and they said, He has done all things well. He makes the deaf hear and the mute speak. Okay, I'm exhausted, so I'll see you guys perhaps another day from now. But that should keep you guys busy to ponder, and we'll see you later on. Chapter 8 of the Gospel of Mark. We'll see you there. Thank you for watching our show. Have yourselves a lovely evening tonight.